Colin, what's going on?
Not much. Just sport my new shirt here today.
It's a lovely shirt.
It is a lovely shirt.
I'm hoping to get one soon.
Yeah, I got yours right here.
Maybe we'll have a merch store at some point.
That's
for
right.
For our dozen of fans.
Yeah, we'll have a store where our fan can shop.
Where our fan can go and get stuff, and our wives make fun of it.
That's right.
Okay, man, it's episode 7, I think, right?
Okay, lucky number 7.
What's been going on for the past week? I know you got something you want to get off your chest here, so let's have it.
Well, we had our golf championship last week, and we had fun. I'll just say that much.
That's it. That's all you're gonna say.
I'm not gonna gloat. I'm not gonna call myself the champ. I'm not gonna call myself superior, or I'm not gonna get into the fact that I've earned bragging rights for the rest of the year, or I didn't choke.
Yeah, I'm glad that you're not going to say any of that stuff.
Yeah,
I'm
going to be humble.
How humble and kind you're being, and it's very big of you to not mention any of those things.
Yeah,
but one stroke. One stroke. And I know.
It's like when you buy a lottery ticket, it only takes one number, one ticket.
No, that's not true. It takes like a whole bunch of numbers.
Okay, when you buy a 50-50 ticket,
you get nothing. If you get like 2, you get a free ticket.
All right, fine. Moving on.
It is what it is. So, in real estate specifically, what's been happening with you for the past week?
Well, I have a new listing, or I guess a renewed listing coming up this week. I have done a possession in the past week, and actually maybe we can get into a little bit of that. So I did a possession, first-time home buyers. They were very excited. Go into the house, and it's not super clean in there. So I guess part of my question to you, as someone who's been in the business for a while, is what do you do what are your expectations as a buyer's agent, and what do you do to manage your clients' expectations when taking possession?
My expectation is, the expectation is that the house is relatively close in condition and cleanliness to when the buyer viewed it. Now, that can be manipulated slightly, because when somebody moves in, they didn't look under the couch. They didn't look behind the fridge. They didn't look, under the bed for the dust bunnies that were blowing around under there. That is where things kind of go off the rails. They didn't see that once the food was all out of the fridge that got sold with the house, that it was a disaster, right?
Right.
So I expect, my expectation would be what a decent human being would expect, and that it's some level of cleanliness when you go in. It doesn't have to be spotless, but it should be clean.
Right. And I guess, with that expectation in mind, this house did meet that expectation. It was about the same cleanliness as the showing itself. I guess I just come from a world where, when you are turning over your home to somebody else, I'm not saying have it professionally cleaned, but I would say that you definitely want it. It's a reflection of you, right? So
it is. And I have gone through in the past situations where somebody sold a house. My client showed up on possession day and it was not clean. Stuff was left behind. It was a disaster. And let's be clear, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this, nobody wants your old paint cans. Nobody really wants those pieces of trim left over, and nobody is ever going to use all those flooring scraps that you have left behind. You think it's helpful, but they don't want it. Now, within reason, of course. If you got two pieces of or vinyl flooring that match the basement, sure, okay. But they don't want 3 boxes of leftover flooring. They don't want the paint color that won't be matched anyway because the paint's been in the garage and frozen and separated, and it will never match again. The stuff in the house is oxidized and it's a different color. I've had people come in, it's been filthy. We've kind of moved forward from it. Since then, I do not hold that standard for myself anymore. I have a much higher one. I will always make sure that in some way that becomes a good experience. I'll give you an example. A client of mine moved into a home that day. The house wasn't clean. I felt terrible about it. I said, listen, I want to get a cleaner in here for you. They're like, no, we want to move today. We'll take care of it. I'm like, okay. On the flip side of this, part of this deal was that I sold their previous house. I said, then do me a favor. When you move out of your previous home, the one you're in right now, the one you're moving from there to here, just move and don't touch anything. Leave it a disaster, please. And I will send my cleaners in to take care of that. So at least something is taken off your plate. Right. And they were very happy with that. And it ended up being spotless for the next buyer. And there was a smooth possession after that.
Well, that's good. That's a good way of dealing with it.
Yeah, that was a good, well, it's not all the time you have that situation though, where you have, something on the back end to deal with as well.
Right.
But they're pretty happy with that. So moving forward, I always try to do a walkthrough the day before, or if I can, a couple of days before. And I try to send someone in there to clean it up if it's not good.
Right.
Yeah. And I've got people that on call to do that. I once spent over $1,000 having a crawl space on a split level cleaned out because it was just packed and they weren't coming back for it.
Yeah.
I had the place cleaned and all that stuff taken to the dump, and it was like 3 trailerfuls to the dump.
Yeah. Well, and I guess like some people are okay with that stuff being left behind because a lot of people, especially first-time home buyers, they don't have a lot of things either, right?
Yeah.
And in this case, all of the stuff that was left behind, most of it can probably be put to some sort of use, right? But there are a lot of people who aren't buying for the first time who have too much of their own stuff they want to move into a house, and then they get there on possession day and the previous owner has left even more stuff for them to deal with. So
yeah, well, and sometimes if they've watched one of those storage wars shows, they think that there's treasures everywhere, so maybe they're okay with it. I don't know.
Yeah.
often it's just junk and it's got to go.
Yeah.
Maybe we should save our topic for next week and just continue down this path because
sure.
I like the fact that, and I'm not sure how comfortable you are talking about this, but there was a discovery in a home inspection that was made where something was not connected properly.
Mm-hmm.
Can we talk about that?
Sure.
Because it got fixed.
It got fixed.
Yeah.
So
take it away.
Yeah. So basically, I had a listing that was up, and there was an accepted offer on the table pending a home inspection. The home inspector went in there and found that there was no airflow or very minimal airflow coming from the furnace to the second floor of the house. And so when a camera went down the vent from the second floor, they had determined that there was a disconnection between the main air duct from the furnace to the second floor. And the whole house had been completely renovated, and at some point in time it was all put back together without that duct being connected. And so we were left in a situation where the sellers, wanted to sell, the buyers wanted to buy, but we were at a bit of a crossroads because we were unsure at the time exactly what the issue was and what it would cost to fix, right? Ultimately, the sale fell through because of it, because timelines played a major factor as the buyer was moving here for a job and needed a very quick possession. And so it has since been fixed by the original contractor. They came good on the error, and it has been fixed. But these are the kind of things that can kill a deal pretty quickly.
Yeah, and with us getting into next week, talking about the downfalls of FSBOs, that's going to be the topic for next week. You as a realtor help navigate this whole thing. So now we have a situation where a seller can go into a deal with confidence because the one major issue that was found in the home inspection has now been corrected.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the good thing. When this house goes back on the market, it's going to be, I know the home inspection was clean other than this one issue, right? And so my clients as sellers, they're good to go. They know there's no surprises. Even our local home inspector in Portage here, he knows the history of that house now,
Well, I was going to ask who did the home inspection, but now that I know that it was Steve, who's our local guy, you can say with confidence that it's going to be fine. And the next time you end up in a situation, and the cool thing about that is, Steve, even if he treats every home as a snapshot in time on the day of the home inspection, so he will come in and he will do the complete home inspection again if it's a month later, a week later, a day later. He'll do it as if he had not done it before.
Right.
But he also knows that issue existed, and he's going to probably specifically look to see that was corrected. And there won't be much else on the report.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and the nice thing about this particular scenario, it was a small portion of the ceiling on the main floor had to be opened. The ductwork was pretty easily available as soon as that small portion was opened, and so it turned out to be a very minor fix. But at the time, when there's an offer on the table and the buyer's looking for a quick possession, I mean, we didn't know what the fix was going to involve. Is this going to take a couple days, a couple weeks, a couple months? How much of the ceiling needs to come down? Do you have to get it from main floor up or second floor down?
And then try to slap a monetary value on that, because sometimes the buyer won't ask for it to be fixed. They'll ask for a discount.
Right. And so, we're talking hundreds, thousands,
Yeah.
So,
yeah. $5,000 can fix a lot of things, but, is that the amount that will go into it? Particularly when the contractor came and did it for nothing.
Right.
So
exactly.
It could have been significant, but then, there's all kinds of scenarios that happen.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, we're in this whole state of homes and condition of homes. I went and got I ordered an ozonator, because you know what an ozonator's for, Colin?
Yes. It's an air scrubber, essentially.
It's an air scrubber, essentially. It kills anything organic in the room it's in, basically. And then it leaves no trace of itself. So, can sound scary. It's not good for a person to be in the room with one. And you certainly wouldn't want to run one in a room or a house with pets.
Right.
And it will even kill plants. But it will kill mold, and it will kill rodents, and it will kill insects. Maybe not so much rodents, be a nuisance to them. But insects it will take care of, mold it will take care of, and if you have an odor in a house, that is the main reason why you would use it. So I purchased one, and I'm going to be using it going forward. But the other thing that it's really good at, and I'm going to use this in the future, is getting rid of cigarette smoke odor. It will take care of that. And all of the times in the past, I had a home listed years ago, and that was the deal killer. Everyone that walked through the front door, the first thing they smelled was cigarette smoke. And it wasn't because the person was smoking in the house. It's because he smoked with the same jacket on and hung it right at the front door. And that smell just hung in the air. So,
Well, and it's very distinct, right?
it's very just, it kind of hits you in the face right when you walk in.
Yeah, the cigarette
So,
smoke and cat piss are the pretty easily identifiable smells.
You might be the most sensitive person I've ever met as far as the cat piss smell.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to know that the one house you walked into that has cats, it doesn't have that smell. Is
The one
mine.
house.
The one
Exactly.
house. And you're saying to me, what you're telling me is every other house you've ever walked into that has cats, you could tell.
I know as soon as you walk in the house. And in my previous career, I mean, I was in 5 to 10 houses a day, and I knew as soon as I walked in the door, like as soon as I crossed that threshold, whether or not they had cats. And I mean, some of them didn't stink. A lot of people still had cats, and the house was not wretched or anything like that. But cats have a very distinct smell, and I think this is another opportunity to plug your Pretty Litter.
Oh yeah, Pretty Litter. Yeah, go
Get some
online. Pretty Litter.
sponsorship.
Search it. I should get a sponsor from them. Because I've never seen it. Any home that I've gone into that has cats, I always see the traditional granular cat litter. But this stuff is the crystal stuff that just absorbs every bit of moisture that enters that. Like it doesn't clump. It just dries everything. And if it's dry, it won't smell.
And the other thing too is, like we talked last week about prepping your home for showings and open houses and whatnot. And every home that I go into to do a showing, out of respect, you take your shoes off, right? And it's a real turn off when you walk into typically a laundry room or utility room, storage room, something like that. And now, especially this time of year during sandal season, now the bottom of your feet is just covered in cat litter or the bottoms of your socks, so it's one of those things that, if you are staging your home for sale, make sure the cat litter is cleaned up almost hourly, because they tend to make a mess in there.
Well, and certainly if a showing gets booked, you about an hour before that showing, you should take care of that.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So a question for you, because I'm not super familiar with the ozonator, but would it help with something like the smell of cat pee?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Get rid of it. Yeah, it'll get rid of it. I didn't buy the cheap one either. I bought the industrial one.
Oh, perfect.
So run it in a basement for an hour, but then you got to leave it. It's on a timer. So when the timer's off, you wait another hour before you go into the house or into the room it's in. Get some air in there because you don't want to breathe that stuff in. And then you move it around, do whatever. But yeah, you got to take some safety precautions.
And have you seen it in action yet?
One of our colleagues has one, and it works like a charm, she says. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Except she has told me some stories about lending it to a client, and the client has, like, despite her warnings, ran it in the home with the family pet, and thankfully nothing happened. But I will never ever lend mine out to a client. I will come and do the thing for you. I'll make sure it's done properly, but I won't lend it to you because I don't want to be responsible for you, destroying your family companion.
Right. No kidding.
Because it's not it's not safe to be in the room with one or in the house while one is running. Okay. Yeah. So I have seen them, and restoration companies have them
Yes.
specifically for mold and
Mold and
odors.
smoke and yeah. So back to our topic there. Do you communicate to your clients because the state of the house upon possession is also a reflection of you as a realtor, whether we like it or not, right?
Right.
So do you try to communicate that to your selling clients about the importance of a clean home on possession?
Yes. Yes. Gently. I say, please tidy up. Please give it a good clean. Recently had only good experiences. So house sold. It was another agent in town. His client went in. I went in before, had a look around, looked okay. They were pretty happy. Then, of course, there was the one where the one where I paid the cleaner to go in. Well, that
Yeah,
house was spotless, and they were pretty happy about that. Yeah.
that's good.
It was another agent's client going in as well.
I guess I just treat it as when you live in an apartment block and you're on your move out day, your expectation is your oven is clean, your stove is clean, the walls are washed, your carpets are shampooed, because there's no middleman between you as the one departing and the new person moving in, right?
Correct.
And the same thing typically goes with the sale of a home. When you go out, the new person comes right in after you, right?
Yeah.
So, and everyone has a different form or a different level
Yeah.
of what clean looks like, I guess, too.
So I would say treat others as you want to be treated, but I don't think that's good enough because some people don't care. I would say treat others as you would expect them to treat your child or your mother. That
Good
way,
one.
you
Yeah,
know, because some people don't, they don't care if it's not that clean when they walk in. So maybe they
right.
don't, if I tell them that, maybe they won't clean on the way out either. But if I say, hey, pretend it's your kid moving in here, that might resonate a little bit more.
Yeah, it's good. I like that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what else is going on?
Well, we
City
got
council
council
meeting
tonight.
tonight.
Big
Yeah,
one on a Wednesday,
on a
which is not
Wednesday.
not common.
No.
Um, there's some things on there. There's some things. There's I'm reading out basically a dedicated pot of funds to go toward park improvements, green space and park improvements. That's a big
That's
deal.
that's exciting.
Um, we have a secondary suite application coming in, which is uncommon,
Yeah.
but it's one that's pre-existing. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out. No opposition, so it shouldn't be as contentious as the ones we've seen in the past.
Yeah.
What else we got on there?
Um, I don't know. Usually we get it on Friday and we have our meeting Monday, so it's fresh in your mind. But I went through the meeting notes on Friday, and I'm gonna have to refresh myself
Well, I
before this
sat in a
evening.
4-hour home inspection yesterday, way out in Langruth, and I was reading through all the stuff. I know my clients well enough that I'm comfortable enough to ask for their Wi-Fi password because there's no way I would have been able to do anything out there otherwise.
Yeah.
And they gave me that so I could do some work and sit in the house because it was just me and the home inspector. The buyer client didn't show up,
Oh, okay.
but I still needed to be there because,
Right.
as much like Steve, like it was Assiniboine Home Inspections doing it, which is great because you can trust Steve wherever. But the client wanted me there because there's certain things in the home that
Yeah.
that's about all I can say about that.
Yeah. Okay. So I was out, just to go back to the parks funding there. I was out yesterday with my mom, and we were putting these on people's doors of their homes there, just some little marketing for myself there. And we went 4th Street and 4th Avenue all the way up to the 800 block and loop back around down 3rd Street where the skate park is. And I've driven past it numerous times, but I've never been on foot, right? And so my mom and I decided to go take a look at it, and We spent about 20 minutes there just kind of checking everything out. And what a cool thing, what a cool asset for our city. And I know that there's been a lot of, younger teenagers, older teenagers that have utilized that park so far, that ones that I personally know. But I was kind of blown away by the amount of respect that has been treated, or the amount of respect that that skate park has got since it first opened. There's not a lot of graffiti there. It's pretty minimal. I know there was a little bit in the past that some members of the Parks Committee and some members of the public had cleaned up, but everything is kept neat and tidy. Nothing's wrecked. It was just very, very good to see.
Yeah, and of course there's a or an interactive fountain right there as well.
Yeah.
And we're looking at the potential of washroom facilities there at some point.
Yeah, and some lighting and.
Yeah, that park is it's close, but we still have some elements that are going into it.
I saw a big pile of dirt sort of being shaped. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
There's like a hill that's going in there for winter use for sleds and toboggans, that kind of stuff.
Nice.
Yeah. And then there's going to be a path that goes around it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
No, I liked it. I just thought to take the opportunity since I was out on foot to actually have a closer look at it. And I was pretty blown away because I do remember being a teenager and we had the old platform, which was, I believe, a warehouse foundation.
Of a burned down warehouse. Yeah.
Yes.
Or a grain elevator or something like that.
On the corner of 3rd Street Northeast and 4th Avenue.
Yeah.
And it was a bit of a death trap. We all needed tetanus shots after using that park for a little bit. And so, no, it's just nice to have something official in our city for all the kids to use.
Yeah, it is great. But that's almost a wrap for today, Colin. What do you think?
Okay, no, sounds good.
Have a new piece of hardware in the shot here.
Oh, yes.
From my super match on the weekend.
I was wondering what that glare was behind you. I thought you accidentally stole my golfing trophy, but...
No, I didn't, because you don't have one.
Well, I'm going to buy one.
Yeah.
So how'd it go on the weekend?
Good. 5-0. My competitor from New Zealand is going home empty-handed.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. All right, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Right on.